Hello and welcome to Whisky Whims with me, Stuart. Today doing my 17th review and it is of Blair Athol 12-year-old Flora and Fauna. So Flora and Fauna is a little collective range from Diageo and it was their attempt to showcase their lesser known distilleries. These distilleries being lesser known for some reasons, some of them being because their whisky goes to blend. And Blair Athol is one of those kind of distilleries. A lot of their produced whisky goes into Bell's whisky. So it goes to blend and there are occasions of it being single malt. One occasion is the Flora and Fauna and I believe they've got some prestigious 21-year-old Blair Athol as well. So Diageo have got I think 26 Flora and Fauna in the collection, and I've written down 14 distilleries and 14 whiskies and their age, just to go through them. However, there are 26, but I didn't want to go through all of them and bore you. So I'll just read out 14 of them. First is Inchgower 14, Strathmill 12, Bladnoch 10, Rosebank 12, Balmanach 12, Manachmore 12, Dufftown 15, Glendullen 12, Pittyvake 12, Mortlach 16, Clynleash 12, Royal Bracla 10, Linkwood 12 and Aberfeldy 15. So I mean I could have written down all 26 but 14 was enough. If you do want to know more about the Flora and Fauna range, you should head over to Aqvavitae. Go check out Roy's video on the Flora and Fauna and what they are. I think he does have a few of Flora and Fauna, he has a few in his collection, and I do believe he's trying to collect them all. So hopefully good luck with that, Roy. I'll leave a link in my description and you can go check out his video. So down in Blair Athol itself, the Blair Athol distillery is located in Pitlochry, which is just down from Blair Athol, maybe about a mile, 2 miles down from Blair Athol, the actual little town. We've got a castle there and a caravan site where me and the missus and their family go and stay in the caravans, kind of like a tradition. So the place holds a lot of sentimental value to me. However, I didn't actually buy this bottle, it was gifted to me from a friend. It came from his uncle's collection and the cork had dried out and the cork is now part of the whisky. So there's little floaters of cork in this whisky. What I've got on the top is a Dalmore cork. I finished a Dalmore recently, or well, a year ago, and put this cork in its place. Just a little tip for you, when you do finish or kill your bottles, do just keep the cork, it always comes in handy and you never know when you're going to need it. So down to the whisky itself, before I keep blathering on. It's bottled at 43%, it's 12-year-old, pretty sure it's coloured and pretty sure it's chill filtered. There's no statement on the label to say it's non-chill filtered or that there's no added colouring, so I think it's safe to assume that there's been added colouring and it's chill filtered. Which is a shame in a sense, but it doesn't take away from how great this whisky is. I do believe I've tried 3 Flora and Faunas. I've tried the Rosebank 12, the Pittyvake 12 and the Blair Athol 12. For me, the Blair Athol stands out triumphant from all 3. The Rosebank 12 I had it at a local pub whilst I was on a drinking session of Guinness, so that might have altered my tasting and my palate, so I will need to try that again just in case I did ruin my palate. So we'll get down to the nose. There's a lot of scents going on here. A nuttiness, possibly almond. There's a lot of malt on the nose. Dried wood, kind of drying wood. Melted butter, possibly for some sort of sauce, some kind of creamy sauce, as if you're melting butter as if you're melting butter in a saucepan and it's getting to that boiling point. Apricot, there's some kind of fresh apricot smells there. And I'd like to say wet leaves. If you've ever took a big whiff of wet leaves, if you've ever been raking wet leaves. Yeah, for a 12-year-old, I'd think this is a lot older if I was tasting it blind. For me, a 9 out of 10 on the nose. To the palate. The palate is very sweet initially, and then there's a peppery, kind of spicy kick that comes through. There's some chocolate, maybe cocoa beans. Possibly something coffee flavoured, but not full on coffee. Maybe like a kind of coffee flavouring. I don't know, like coffee ice cream or the coffee flavouring you get in candy or sweets. That apricot from the nose now is once again not full on apricot, it's more like an apricot flavouring, possibly like apricot jam. Dried wood again, and the whiskey itself is very, very drying. It's taking all the moisture out of my mouth. So I think that's adding to the effect of the dried wood. A really nice, pleasurable palate. I wish you could taste it. I just want to keep drinking and drinking, although I've not got much left of the bottle. It's not cheap, it's not expensive. I think you can pick it up from retailers about £40, and I would really urge you to buy it. It's amazing. A 9 out of 10 for the palate. Yeah, definitely a 9 out of 10, I was just double checking. The finish is what lets this whiskey down, I'd say. It doesn't ruin the whiskey, it just lets it down. It's a medium length finish, once again drying. It's more oak now rather than just kind of a generic wood. There's definitely oak flavours there. Like I keep saying, very drying. Quite bitter, and there's a peanut taste, but it's not the peanuts themselves, it's the skin of the peanut, that kind of burgundy skin that's surrounding the peanut. I don't know, when I eat monkey nuts, I crack them open, I eat the skin off first and then I eat the nut. If you ever do that, that is the taste that I'm tasting, those skins on the nuts. Very bitter, which is quite pleasant from the palate, because the palate was a sweet kind of chocolate, fruity apricot. There was those type of flavours there, so it's quite a contrast from the palate to go from sweet to bitter. That's what I think makes this whiskey so good, is the depth of the flavours and the complexity of the whiskey. 8 out of 10 for the finish, just because it's medium. If it was long, it would have been another 9 out of 10. Overall, for me, this whiskey's an 8.7 out of 10. It's outstanding, especially for being only 12-year-old, £40. If I was to blind taste this, I could probably say it was maybe £100, maybe 18, 21-year-old. That might be over exaggerating because I do enjoy it so much, but it is a really nice whiskey. If you haven't got one in your collection, or if you haven't tried it, I really do urge you to try this whiskey. One of my personal favourites. So an 8.7 out of 10. Once again, if you've enjoyed the content, please do subscribe. If you have any feedback, please do leave it in the comments. I've been Stuart, this has been Whiskey Whims. One more little taste. And I'll finish the rest off camera. I'll see you later.